Shalom Chavrim, I'm Steve Benoon with Yana Benoon here with me. We are here on Israeli News Live. We wanted to bring some more things to your attention. A lot of incredible independent journalists, media out there doing some things, but we're gonna kind of break some things down for you here, starting with Chicago 5 News, and let you be the judge of what's going on. What is mainstream media disseminating to the public about this coronavirus? And what is the real facts behind it? What is independent media discovering that seems to be completely contrary to what mainstream media is putting out? Yana, you want to talk about this a little bit?
Well, let's just listen to it, Steve. Let's play it.
Making it easier than ever for new applicants to get assistance. 3, we've worked to guarantee covered costs for COVID-19 treatment to all of our uninsured residents, regardless of income.
Well,
and
let's
4,
just play from the
we've
beginning,
worked to have
Stephen.
all our...
It's about the death of a child. Everybody's freaking out. The child died of COVID-19.
Today I have some terribly sad news to announce. Among the fatalities over the last 24 hours was a state employee, a member of our team at the Department of Human Services, and an infant. May their memories be a blessing. I know how difficult this news can be, especially about this very young child.
Okay.
Upon hearing it, I admit I was immediately shaken, and it's appropriate for any of us to grieve today.
Okay, so Steve, what I want to talk about is that even some of the believers and friends yesterday called us and messaged us that child died of COVID-19 and this is horrible and we should continue social distancing and we should take it seriously, and then young people are not obeying enough and they should stay home, and everybody was freaking out over young child dying. And just as sad as a death of a young child could be, I kind of looked into the story because, as you know, officially they were saying that this COVID-19 is not dangerous for young people, it's not dangerous for children, it's mainly dangerous for ones who are immunosuppressed, or for the old generation, like in their 70s and 80s, who have multiple other diagnoses, diseases, chronic diseases. And most people, 95% of people, recover within 24 to 48 hours, and only very little tiny percentage is dying. And those that die are actually old and with multiple diagnoses of different kinds of diseases and immunity problems. Okay, so this death of a child yesterday shook everybody up and caused such a reaction in people. Well, let me look at this, because as I am reading here, I have highlighted, it says the infant that died had a bowel blockage and organ failure and died 4 weeks after being hospitalized, health officials said. So as you can see, that they are saying that this is a child, and he's making, the particular official here is making it look like, wow, this child died, everybody should grieve and be sad because of COVID-19 killed a child.
But yet
they actually tell you,
didn't.
All right, first of all, let me show some inconsistencies, because this is getting really crazy what is happening. Look, it says here, an infant from Cook County died from the coronavirus, Illinois health officials said Saturday, marking the first infant death from the virus in the United States. So they're saying that the child died from the virus. And then as you keep reading, it says Illinois Department of Public Health Director Zika said up until this point there had not been a death associated with the new coronavirus in an infant, and she continued to urge people to do all they can to prevent the spread of virus, okay? And look at this sentence, read it again. The infant had a bowel blockage and organ failure and died 4 weeks after being hospitalized, health officials said. Okay.
So it sounds like to me, especially bowel blockage is not caused by coronavirus.
No, it's not. They're specifically saying the coronavirus is just like a flu, mild flu and cold. They are admitting it. Tony Fauci, it's like a cult leader. I'm not kidding you. That's all. Everybody's turning to Tony Fauci. Like he knows everything. There is no second opinion of anybody else. And it's Tony Fauci, what Tony Fauci says. But Tony Fauci himself in a medical journal expressed the fact that coronavirus is just mild influenza with a 0.1% deaths, and that it's even a lot less fatal than any SARS or MERS, or you understand? So
exactly.
And also, what are the symptoms? It's a respiratory symptoms, and in a few fatal cases, or few, maybe 5% of cases, it causes respiratory problems and pneumonia and death from, pneumonia. But the thing is that bowel blockage is not one of the symptoms.
No.
Okay, and this particular infant was already hospitalized for 4 weeks, Stephen, and had bowel blockage. So this is what kind of worries me, that they contradict what they say.
Right. And then they say here, a full investigation is underway to determine the cause of death.
So they don't even know yet. They say right now they're investigating the cause of death of an infant child, but they already sensationalizing all over the media the child died from COVID-19.
Well, we see this in cases that have been reported to us of people that are medical professionals that know that different people have died of different issues not associated with coronavirus, but were being labeled as coronavirus. Which that kind of brings us to another point too, Yana, and that is the video that we had gotten here. L'Oreal Austin had re-uploaded this one here. I don't know if Toodles is the name of the channel of this lady here, and put together an amazing.
I don't think that's her name. Is it Toodles?
I don't know, but it's just what's on the video there, so who knows? But anyway, maybe we can reach out to L'Oreal Austin and find out who the actual source of this video is. This lady here has done an awesome job at putting together a huge number of independent journalists that have gone out, citizen reporters as it's called here in the title here, and have challenged mainstream media and some of the things that they are saying. And so I really appreciate that. In fact, before we play her, Zoyana, one thing that I'd like to say, because you mentioned that like in this here, they want you to continue to practice, social distancing, right? Well, here's what's interesting. They want you to practice social distancing, but let's just take, for example, President of the United States. They're sitting here, they're talking about coronavirus. Nobody's wearing a mask. They're all shoulder to shoulder. None of these guys are 6 foot apart. If you go further, and of course now the generals, there's a whole line of these guys here, different ones. Nobody practices social distancing. The media is, okay, they got them every other chair, but what hypocrisy. Look at it. They're all shoulder to shoulder practically. So where's the social distancing? And then
I guess it doesn't apply to them, Steve. It only applies to the Shipley.
That's right. And remember, we got this footage here in from Pensacola, Florida. Some folks had sent these footages here to us. If you'll notice, when we did this in our news broadcast, that's the tent that the COVID patients enter. But you can see, and we've examined this video, none of the people in there are wearing masks. In fact, the only person that was even wearing a mask just so happened to be was this man here, like a security guard, not just like a dust mask was all he was wearing. But the people, even the hospital people that were coming in and out, they also, let's see, just kind of fast. There they are, right there, right up. See if I get it just right. There it is. There he goes. None of them are wearing masks at all. So, they're going through their COVID-19 checking station, no mask. And of course, we were being told that there was just practically nobody
right, no,
there.
Very few patients even entering, because you see the hospitals canceled all of these outpatient procedures or surgeries, and what usually goes on in a hospital, all of that is on hold, and these hospital workers are supposedly waiting on corona patients, but the person who sent us, they said that there was almost nobody there.
Right.
Okay,
and then they had this one. It's also Pensacola at a place called, they told, Sacred Heart Hospital. And they said it looked like first the staff was waiting for Life Flight helicopter to come in because the landing pad was right there, until they realized later that they were there changing shifts. But again, they talk about social distancing. Now, you've got 1, 2, 3 people that I can see with masks on. Nobody else is wearing a mask. They're all shoulder to shoulder.
And just to let you know, these are medical workers from this hospital. These are nurses and all kinds of personnel, medical personnel from the hospital. And why they're outside is that they're receiving worship, Steve.
Exactly.
They're receiving worship. And from across the street, there is a bunch of cars flashing and people praying with their hands up and singing songs to thank them for work. But yet there is no COVID patients they're caring for. Nurses playing cards, have nothing to do, drinking coffee, waiting for COVID patients, as I was told. And there was no patients, nobody. Right. It's totally dead.
And to prove it, in the video footage, they zoom in so you could see what they were talking about.
No social distancing.
There's no social distancing. Zoom back out. They switched it over to the parking lot across the street. And, of course, we've heard that there's other places going on in the country like this.
You see the flashing, the people worshiping and singing.
Exact same people in the parking lot. And so it's been organized by some religious church event. And we kind of suspected, because also we'd gotten another information from Pensacola.
And by the way, just to make it clear, these people here came to sing to the medical personnel, to encourage them and keep going because they have COVID patients, and sing to them and show support. Supposedly they're overwhelmed and all of that, but yet it's completely dead, ghost town, no patients. No even outpatient procedures, no patients coming in because everybody's told to stay home. This is almost comical, Steve.
It is. And then, of course, it kind of reminded me, since it was the religious side of that, was these images here that we'd received also from Pensacola. This was, as we were told, and maybe I can blow this up to where we can see this, but this was the famous Brownsville Revival, or Brownsville Pentecostal Church, I think part of the New Apostolic Reformation there. They're sitting there with a COVID-19 testing station. But here's what was really funny. The funniest thing about this particular center here is that they took, not only did they show us the trailers there for the testing, but then we got, of course, there was their sign, COVID-19 testing was right out there by the church as well. And we actually got to see the pictures where you can see the sign in the background, so we know it's all factual information. But then they did a close-up of that one bus in there, and it's a mammography bus for COVID-19. So I guess, what do? You check the breast of the woman to find out whether or not she's got COVID-19?
Well, no, they probably just used that particular, van for inside testing. But the problem was that there was no people. The person who went to look at this, it's a setup station, testing. Church cooperated, offered their premises to bring these testing stations. But there was nobody testing. It was a ghost town again. No people outside, no testing going on. It's just, at first, Stephen, we kind of gave it a consideration that, okay, maybe it's some kind of biological warfare. It's dangerous or whatever. Right. But the more and more we look at their own statistics.
Well, this is what's being disseminated to us, even from intelligence. But we know that it's been told us by intelligence that the coronavirus is a cover for what's really going on in the background. But they still seem to indicate that the virus was real. Well, corona is a flu type of virus. It's no big deal. It's been going on for years.
I mean, we have flu every year, right? A lot of people, we have flu seasons
and even
every
corona
year.
strands.
And all kinds of strands, new strands every year. And more people die of a regular flu season, immunosuppressed, people, compromised people with all kinds of diseases died of regular flu, and more of them died than from corona. So why we didn't do this shutdown, planetary shutdown from flu virus?
Exactly.
Okay, or from any kind of deaths, like let's say vaccines cause SIDS, but nobody, no media ever started all of this sensationalism about children that died after vaccines, or this is just becoming too weird, too strange, and it seems like this is a cover for a shutdown of an economy. And I think that we're never going to see not only United States but the world as we knew it. I don't think we are ever going to see it. And I think that more Orwellian orders are going to come out, and more Orwellian laws are going to come out, and who knows what else they're planning on us,
Yes.
because this is way too weird what's going on. But let's just play this lady here.
And we have a lot of intelligence friends all over the world, and it's almost been in unison with them, the exact same words to us. It's never going to be the same. And many of them knowing that the virus is not the real issue. Now, I thought the video was already in the right place, but let's just check, see where we're at
In an
here.
earnest attempt to sort fact from fiction, citizen reporters are popping up and hitting the streets to verify whether or not what we're hearing about these hospitals is true.
Approximately how many coronavirus patients have you seen? How many? You don't know? 2? 100?
That's in New York.
3. You've seen 3.
So again, there are no lines of people. There is no mass chaos out here, contrary to what the mainstream media is telling you.
How do you know they had coronavirus? Do you guys test in the ambulance? You don't know. You assume. Symptoms?
Can you blame Americans for wanting to verify the truth when networks like CBS are doing things like this?
Cases are being found right here. Crowded subway cars may have accelerated the spread. New York's governor says FEMA gave the state 400 ventilators. To that,
Watch
he
this
said
closely,
this.
guys.
What am I going to do with 400 ventilators when I need 30,000?
Wow.
So when you're watching this from CBS, the slant, is the great need for the equipment. We don't have enough equipment. So the crowded ER shot demonstrates we have an epicenter of this disease in New York, and we don't have enough. We need 30,000 ventilators. But the only problem is this footage has already run on Sky News on March 22nd talking about Italy. Yeah.
This is the main hospital in Bergamo, in Lombardy province. It's one of the most advanced hospitals in Europe. But it's the most hard-hit of all the hospitals.
Once again this morning, the city's hospitals will be on the front lines in this war against the coronavirus. In Elmhurst, Queens, that hospital there, lines of people lining up already this morning for about the last 45 minutes. Confirmed cases, people waiting to get tested. Supplies are in demand there.
Somebody said there would be hordes of people inside. That's why I didn't go in. Let's see. The doctor with his mask on and everything.
This guy's brave, very brave.
Nobody's there.
Completely empty.
Just like,
Very next day.
yeah.
No EMS.
Well, they're going to run him out in a minute.
Nothing. Nothing. Absolutely.
Pandemic
Ghosts.
epicenter in the ghost town.
That's all they got you afraid of ghosts.
With a growing number of patients as supplies dwindle, you can see barricades behind us set up here
Who did
outside
they
of the
pay to line
hospital
up?
to keep order here
Wow,
because
makes you
so
wonder.
many have been lining up every day to get tested.
Where's the long lines of the people trying to get tested? I don't see that.
I just wanted to give you guys an idea of what it looks like here in New York City. The mayor, the governor says our hospitals have been turned into war zones. Well, I want to give you an idea of what that war zone looks like here in downtown Brooklyn. So this is my neighborhood. This is the Brooklyn Hospital Center. And again, you're hearing one thing on the mainstream media, and this is what it's like in reality. This is where people normally stand up to get testing for the coronavirus. But as you can see, not much happening.
Just
and
like
this is a hospital
the
that
videos we
serves
got from
thousands
Pensacola.
and thousands
Nobody
of people
there.
here in downtown Brooklyn, New York.
But this is
There are
supposed
no lines of
epicenter,
people.
Steve.
Exactly.
There is no mass chaos out here, contrary to what the mainstream media is telling you.
Now here's those tents they had set up. This is what you saw on the news.
At Elmhurst Hospital, lines of people outside wait to get tested. A refrigerated truck has now been brought in here, a makeshift morgue.
Here's the refrigerated truck for the dead people. But no action.
Ambulances have seen a surge in calls, responding to nearly 5,800 Thursday.
All parked ambulances. No patients. Nobody's rushing anywhere.
In fact, we got a couple of ambulances here waiting to be called into action. Here's some busy, crazy busy guys.
This
They're
is
on their cell phone, watching Netflix.
And officials say this, unfortunately, is
insane.
just the
It's
beginning,
crazy.
with the crisis expected to last for months and the peak of it all still on the horizon. We're live in Elmhurst, Queens this morning. Rena Roy, CBS 2 News.
Rena, thank you.
Nothing. Absolutely.
Does Rena know the
Ghosts.
crisis actors or what?
That's all they got you afraid of ghosts.
I think we need
What?
more citizens
Oh,
to
no
get
problem.
out and
Phyllis and William
keep
Pavilion
filming,
here
because we
on
need to
7th Avenue.
come.
Right.
We need to come to the bottom of this, Stephen. What is going on? Please get
So-
out and go look at your hospitals and talk to people,
check it
talk to
out.
doctors. We have called our doctors that we know. All of them say they are bored, nothing to do, no people coming in. They are waiting on
Well,
coronavirus.
let's go a little step further on that
Oh
one
my
there, Yana.
goodness.
Two things. One, listen, if you can send us some video footage that you've taken that's going on, especially if you're in an area where they're saying that this is a major problem, that would really be great. And if you can send us a link where maybe your local news has covered it, that they've got a major outbreak at that hospital, and you can show us that it's not, please send it to IsraeliNewsLive@gmail.com. Put in your subject line there for us so we can easily find it. Hospital, just hospital. It's all you got to put in the subject line. That way we'll find it easier. But listen, going back to the doctors, we were speaking to a doctor, very good friend of ours, when this
Two of them.
Yeah, two of them. But when the alleged crisis first broke out, he had been in meetings with other doctors, and he was shaken, visibly shaken, because he said they were being told they're going to have to make decisions on who they're allowed to save and who they're not allowed to save. And he said this goes against our Hippocratic Oath. But they were being told that patients over 80, out the door, forget it.
Right, I know, and
They didn't like it.
But then they have no patients. This is the sad thing.
Well, that's right.
No patients are coming in as usual, with just usual illnesses. Prescriptions are just called in.
Right, because yesterday
all
we
of
spoke
that.
to another doctor.
And another one says it's like a ghost town. He's just sitting there waiting.
Yeah.
I asked him,
Business
is there
as
any
usual,
right?
but no COVID patients.
No
at all.
COVID patients at all. He says nobody comes here with any kind of symptoms like this. So I don't know. I would like to hear what you have to say, because we have to investigate and come to the bottom of this, because as you can see, they're shutting down economy. 6.6 million people filed for unemployment. Neighbors where we live, they lost job. 80% of our community is out of jobs.
They're
Okay.
going to do everything at one time, Yana. As you
So-
told me before from that one book you
Yeah,
have, Pale Horse Rider by...
the Pale Horse Rider by Bill Cooper, where he said that they're gonna shut down economy, they're gonna bring war, they're gonna apply their AI high technology to create
Pompeo's ready for war
tornadoes,
with Iran right now.
tornadoes, earthquakes, tsunamis, you name it. And that particular book was saying that all of this they're gonna do within a short span of time and bring all kinds of, and of course Zohar prophecies are saying
That's
that they're
exactly
going
right.
to bring a lot of suffering
To the Gentiles.
so they can accept the Messiah. And now, Steve, the other day you made a report how they're preparing the white robe for the Messiah.
Yes.
In Israel, the society is completely Orwellian. Shin Bet is checking all the cell phones out and controlling people by their cell phones, and their excuses.
Netanyahu's become a dictator.
Right, it's coronavirus is the excuse. But anyway, can we leave them a link to this video?
Yes.
You guys need to watch twice this video. And full video,
yes.
Please watch it twice.
And Laurel, if you could, sister, if you listen in, could you provide maybe in your description a link to this lady's original channel?
So we can give her.
And if you can even forward that, because we really want her to have the credit for the work she's done here. Amazing work, and really God bless her. And all these independent journalists that have done an amazing job.
Citizen journalists. You know, and they're going to target the people who report like this. And I'm afraid that they're going to do blackout and actually take people to prison. They're going to
round up people,
You know,
yes.
I'm afraid this is coming, people. I know I'm kind of...
Here in, was it Florida?
We're going to talk about, but I'm kind of freaking out about this, Stephen. I have been to my friends personally, privately saying, you watch, they're planning some kind of a roundup of citizens who disagree with all this or who are actually having critical thinking abilities here.
They're getting the guillotines ready. And by the way, guys, I'm going to tell you something. I know many of you reported these guillotines over the years. Well, I'm not going to say who or anything like that, but I did have a confirmation conversation recently, and it would blow you away to know how many there really were ordered. I'm not going to say right now, but I can tell you one thing. No one that has ever reported on it that I know of has ever known the true number that were ordered. And it is staggering, absolutely staggering what really has been done. There's some very sinister plans for Americans. Our Israeli intelligence friends has told us they're going to genocide this nation. They're going to do away with racial impurity is the way they put it. So listen, our black brothers and sisters of different colors, regardless of who you are, we need to stick together, pray together, and we're going to overcome this by Jesus Christ, because we're not going to allow Satan just to trample over us and allow them to try to divide us.
Yes, and what we have to do is really look at factual information, even on CDC numbers and statistics are against what they're saying. I mean, regular flu has much worse and more impressive statistics than this COVID-19.
Yes.
They're sensationalizing entire day and night, putting into people all kinds of sensational information. And once you look at these deaths and investigate the death and who died actually, soon I will show you the examples, but these people were already not only up in age, but they had several very bad diseases and bad diagnoses already.
Let's play a little bit more of this real quick, and then we'll move on.
New people. We control the disease by controlling the information. You can't protect the public by lying to them. It's done every day.
Walk-in healthcare clinics around the state say they've been overwhelmed by the demand for coronavirus testing, causing frustration.
We were overwhelmed yesterday with the response to people wanting testing.
Urgent Care Hawaii says its drive-up service was deluged by requests for coronavirus tests, some waiting as long as 4 hours.
Here's my question, guys. What's the game here? You're smart people. Why are they whipping us into a panic?
This guy filmed this. There is nobody there, right?
Why are they lying about massive lines of people at testing centers?
And he's going to find that lady that was in the news.
Told there are these long lines of people being managed at the urgent care, that they're being overwhelmed.
Some waiting as long as 4 hours.
Actually, the president or CEO of urgent care, while I was in front of the place, was telling me, we're doing the best we can, managing these massive lines. I'm like, I'm here, lady. And there's no lines.
As you can see, the ER, the hospital, is not overwhelmed. Where are all these sick people at for this quarantine? Hospital number 2. The first one was Norton East in Louisville, Kentucky. And this one is Baptist East in Louisville, Kentucky. The first one had nobody waiting in the waiting area. 2 nurses just sitting at the desk. The quarantine tent where they take the test was empty.
People look at the testing centers. This is what they're telling you testing is going on in. Where's the testing? They're empty.
Let me go back to that one guy, because he's going to challenge that one lady. And that's what we want to get to. because she switched in her thing there. Let me see. Here it is. Here it is.
I just want to know why urgent care doesn't want me to document. They're lying on the news about being overwhelmed with lines and testing all these people. They're taking state money, and they're not testing anyone. They're taking our money. Look at that line, officer. Did you see that line? So are these the overwhelming lines that you guys
This is the lady that was on the news. What?
I'm a journalist, and this is going to be a column that's going to be read nationally. That's great. About how you're lying, that there are massive lines.
I never said there were massive
that you're doing.
We were overwhelmed yesterday with the response.
You tested 25 people here yesterday? You said that. You didn't test 25 people. No, I didn't. No, I didn't. I got nobody going in.
Oh, wow.
And she tries to take us from.
Wow, you must be upset.
So it seems like people all over the world are sick of lies in the media. So sick of it that they've decided to do something about it.
God bless all of them.
Doing
Yes,
the work
God
that
bless
we
all
now
of these
so-called
brave
approved
people.
news outlets.
Okay, Steve, let's move on to the next subject here.
So God bless this lady as well for being so brave to put this information out. So we'll try to get her link up as for the people as well. Let's move on then.
Okay, this is just few deaths that I wanted to talk to you about because I was investigating, here in the Czech Republic, they basically closed down their whole country, and I was investigating their deaths. Okay, it says what they did each day, the 10th of March, what they did 11th of March, 12th of March. They put people inside their houses. They closed down the country. They closed down trains, transportation. They set up centers, and they kept saying that people basically died. I don't know how many, 7 people died or something like this. Here it is, 22nd of March. Let's look at these deaths together.
95-year-old man, right?
The first death, a 95-year-old man, while COVID-19 positive at the time of death, the man was not at ICU and did not suffer from pneumonia, that is a COVID-19 specific type of death. The man suffered from chronic heart issues and had also a pacemaker. The cause of death was formally established as a complete exhaustion of organism. Okay, but he is actually put down as a COVID-19
same thing
death.
We heard from a nurse in Slovakia telling us the exact same thing.
Yeah, I'm going to tell you that story. Here, a second death happened on the 24th of March, right? A second death was reported. A 45-year-old man died after 6 days in a hospital in Havířov. The patient was suffering from advanced cancer with metastasis to multiple organs. So he has a cancer.
Why are they putting that as a COVID patient then?
He has
insane.
Stage 4 metastatic cancer. Cause of death was established as multiple organ failure due to cancer, but COVID-19 infection accelerated the patient's death. And I'm supposed to believe this?
What a crock.
Do you understand? A third death was reported. 71-year-old woman died in Všeobecná fakultní nemocnice, that's the name of hospital, in Prague. The woman suffered from chronic obstructive pulmonary disease as well as other illnesses.
But still, she's got COVID-19.
Well, they had to shut off the entire country, send people home, close the restaurants.
Well, people are dying natural.
People lost jobs, and in that country, I know it's a tragedy in United States, but in Czech Republic, people are actually in a much worse scenario. Yes. It is complete poverty very, very soon, Stephen. It's really gonna get. It's going to get ugly.
We have family that live there, and we know that the suffering for them, especially any European country, even Italy, etc.
But this is the problem, Steve. Like, look at this. The 4th and 5th death was reported. The 4th victim of disease is 82-year-old from Prague with long-term chronic health problems. The 5th patient, 88-year-old man from Central Bohemian region, who was at home getting treatment and was suffering from chronic diseases. 6th patient, 75-year-old patient, suffered from diabetes and Parkinson's disease and had advanced heart problems.
And all of them got COVID-19.
Right, but how about if he really died from a heart problem, Steve? And,
exactly.
You know, and because of that, and this kind of deaths happening daily, every single day, people die of cancer, of heart disease and everything. And they are saying these are COVID-19 deaths.
When they're 94, 88, 82.
Exactly.
I mean, this is kind of normal.
I mean, I was blown away from when I read this information.
They put the information there, and that's what really gets me.
And they put it information as COVID-19 deaths.
So, all right, so we got the dog stopped from barking now, so let's move on.
Yes.
All right, so going on to Italy, Yana.
Yes, let's see what's happening in Italy. And you know how they are warning us whatever is happening in Italy will happen eventually here. And I know that they're actually talking about coronavirus per se, but I wonder if this is a subliminal message. So just kind of heads up what happened in beautiful Italy. Italy is becoming impatient with lockdown, and social unrest is brewing. Police descend on a supermarket after reports people have stolen food to feed themselves as patients turns to desperation. And various videos of Italian people in desperation. Videos have emerged of desperate people in Italy begging for help because they have run out of money and food. It's well into its third week of coronavirus lockdown. Italy is still seeing many hundreds of people dying each day. This is what doesn't make sense. There are lockdowns, so the numbers should go down, right?
Exactly.
So
but they claim it's going up.
They claim that they're doing social distancing, locking down. Even in the United States, considering how many cities are locked down, people staying more home, they're ghost cities, very few people even driving anymore. I'm asking, why are we constantly sensationalizing and saying the numbers keep going up, up, up? So that means social distancing doesn't work. Locking down doesn't work since numbers are going up.
They don't do social distancing at the White House. They don't do it at the hospitals. The police don't do it. The ambulance drivers don't do it. So who are really doing the social distancing?
Right. So here we go. This will be a really good article. This particular man here showing his little girl eating a little piece of bread. We are out at our limit, the father said. He says he gestures to his little girl who is eating a piece of bread and says, like my daughter, other children in a few days won't be able to eat this bit of bread. Rest assured, you will regret this because we are going to have a revolution. So I'm worried about the social unrest. This particular report.
Europeans are not very passive, not like Americans. They are very, very active about these issues.
Well, not really, as you see, Stephen. They are staying, they're obeying the government, but it's getting to be becoming too much on people to stay inside constantly, not have income. They lost jobs, right? Let's look at other photos in Italy. Photos and videos reveal brewing unrest in southern Italy as lockdowns make people desperate for cash and food. Here, people putting down baskets of food for the, I don't know if he's homeless, but obviously has nothing. Italy's novel coronavirus outbreak is one of the worst in the world, prompting government to initiate strict nationwide lockdowns. Southern regions are beginning to feel weight of the economic blow as many residents begin to run out of food and money. 3.3 million Italians, one-third of whom are located in the south, work off the books for cash, making them unsure of when their paycheck will come next. And it says that authorities are worried situation could become violent. The same thing happening in Spain. So I wonder what will happen over here.
It makes me wonder too, Yana, is that eventually who's going to end up having their Messiah Savior to come save the world and say that we've got the cure for the pandemic now, and we're also going to save you economically. The people will fall for it, and this is what I'm concerned about: is that they're going to fall for an antichrist that is going to allegedly save a world from something that is probably not even existent. I'm using the word probably more facetiously than if you just kind of follow that line of thought.
Okay, here long lines at grocery stores have caused an anxiety in the region. Reports have shown that some people are pressuring small businesses owners to give away food for free. Look at these lines, Stephen, of hungry people in Italy, desperate people. What do you think is going to happen here? Now, police here in front of a food store. I mean, it's really crazy what is happening right now worldwide. And they caused it because of a mild cold virus. Why they didn't do this over horrible flu seasons in the past years?
This is when you know something is up. This is not
something else.
What they're saying.
Now here, I want to show you these epidemiologists. You know how everybody on CNN, MSNBC, everybody, Fox News, everybody is showing Tony Fauci, the head of CDC. It's almost like a Tony Fauci cult, all right? Anything Tony Fauci says, we do, we obey. And what is the second opinion of other epidemiologists, Stephen?
Right.
You know, don't we supposed to get second opinions on everything by other professionals?
That's right.
But here's John P.A. Ioannidis.
54-year-old Greek-American physician, scientist, and writer who has made contributions to evidence-based medicine, epidemiology, and clinical research. In addition, he has pioneered the field of meta-research, research on research, which is not a widely recognized scientific field. He claims that much of the published research does not meet good scientific standards of evidence, based mainly on stylized mathematical model and analysis of findings reported in medical research journals.
Okay, now he's now saying, he stated in a recent online posting that the worldwide attempt to control the recent worldwide pandemic of COVID-19 may be an overreaction and fiasco in the making. Okay, this is very interesting what he says. This is the doctor, epidemiologist. That's him.
Let's play.
And I would like to, this is a very long video, but it's worth watching every minute. Worth watching every minute, everything he says. Now let's just play one little thing here.
We'll play this clip right here for about a minute and a half.
If we shut everyone in their house, it is a solution. You know, if we manage to even isolate everyone, not even being in touch with any other person, in theory, we are containing the spread of the virus. So as you realize, this is very difficult to do. It has lots of consequences. And for a society like ours, it means that very soon you will start seeing a major impact on the economy. We already see that. If the economy is ruined, you have unemployment, you have poverty, you have bankruptcies, you have lots of diseases that are associated with this sort of social and economic disruption. We have strong evidence that that can lead to an increase in depression, in anxiety, in suicides, in heart attacks, in common things, in things that cumulatively could have a much higher impact on deaths compared to what SARS-CoV-2 can achieve on its own. So there are some models that suggest that if you go down that path of basically lockdown, you may need to wait for 18 months. And I'm extremely worried about that scenario. I'm not sure that our world, our civilization could survive that. I think that there is not just millions of lives at stake, which is the pessimistic scenarios about SARS-CoV-2. It is billions of lives who might be at stake if we have to protract that for so long. And my plea is to get the best data, because we have very serious decisions to make. We should. Okay, so here we go. Stephen, can you?
Yes. What's fascinating is that it's not just the COVID-19. It's going to be a whole lot of other issues that cause more deaths than what the COVID virus would ever cause.
Well, yes, he said that millions of lives will be affected, and he talked about millions of deaths just by other diseases caused by lockdown, depression, anxiety, suicides, which leads to suicide. Okay, so, and heart attacks. We are social beings. We cannot be basically locked down. And now he says that the only way to stop the virus or cold virus, if you want to stop it, would be 18 months lockdown. But that's not even humanly possible. It's not something we can survive as humanity. And now, even in Norway, they told Norwegians that now the lockdown will be 18 months. You see, Stephen? And now they told them that they will have to have compulsory testing for every citizen and compulsory vaccination, which is another issue we want to go into on a different video.
Yes.
What's in these vaccines.
And on another video, too, we'll be discussing why we think that this length of time is really being suggested, but not today.
Yeah, another video that we suggest is to watch this doctor, Dr. Rashid Buttar. He has a series of videos on coronavirus, on what it is and what is really going on with the virus. Very level-headed physician. So please watch that video. We will post a link.
Okay.
And then this here is very disturbing information, as many of you know. This guy here is a Tom Lapidi, 25 years in law enforcement, says that Pastor Rodney Howard Brown was illegally arrested, pastor in Florida who held 2 church services. Okay, so let's listen a little bit what he has to say.
Let's go over what really happened. And I want you to know that I've done my part in this and I've researched this. So what I tell you is true. You can look it up for yourself. Hey, Susan, glad you're on. So what was he arrested for? He was arrested for having church services. Here's what he was charged with. He was charged with unlawful assembly. Now, I'm going to tell you something. This is a sad day for me in a lot of ways because, I was a cop for 25 years, retired in 2017. And this is a sad day for me to say some things that I'm about to say about the Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office. The Sheriff, Chad Chronister, I believe is how you pronounce his name. Chad Chronister and his cohort with the state attorney's office. So anyway, Rodney Howard Brown was arrested today for unlawful assembly. And I can tell you from knowing the Florida state statutes the way that I do, that is a bogus charge. Absolutely a bogus charge. And he needs to sue the Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office, namely Chad Chronister, the sheriff, because he's the one who really did all of this. So anyway, next thing he was arrested for was for violation of public health emergency rules. Hey, Sonny, glad you're on. Erica, glad you're on. So he is arrested for those 2 things, both of them second-degree misdemeanors, punishable up to 60 days in jail, and I can't remember the fine amount, $50,000 or something like that. So that's what he was arrested for. Sheriff Chad Chronister said that when he saw, I'm reading this off of a news source that I got, that when he saw images from a crowded Sunday service at the church, he was furious. Now, anybody who's been in law enforcement, that's not when you make decisions, is when you're furious.
That's
for one thing. So there's mistake number 1. Chronister said that Brown violated, now listen, he said that Rodney Howard Brown, in having these church services, violated the president's order. Now, I just watched the president's latest news conference where he was asked by the media, are you going to issue any nationwide curfews or lockdowns? And the answer was no. So he did not violate the president's order. Chad Chronister is a liar. He did not do that. That is a bold-faced lie.
You're here.
And for those that I saw on this, I was watching it on Channel 8 as they were doing their Facebook Live on Channel 8, and there was people putting comments on there, both supporting and against the pastor, and said they should arrest everybody, arrest those that went to the church, everything. Is that really where we're at? Is this really where we're at? This is where we want to be? I want you to think about that. So Chronister says that Rodney Howard Brown violated the president's order. That is incorrect and completely wrong. And then he said that Rodney Howard Brown, by having these 2 church services, violated the governor's order, executive order. That is a bold-faced lie. There is no executive order from Governor DeSantis about religious gatherings. There is no such order. I looked into every single coronavirus order that Governor DeSantis has issued, that he's executed, and there is not one order. He has recommended, as the president has recommended, that nobody gather with more than 10 people. That, hey, Chronister, That is not an order. Your trumped up unlawful assembly charge is trumped up and unlawful, and I hope you get sued for it. The only thing that he had any reason to arrest him for was this. They do have a Hillsborough County order. Hillsborough County, not the state of Florida. For all my Foundation Church family, there is no order for the state of Florida. So Hillsborough County has an emergency policy group. Boy, does that sound like a grouping of morons. But anyway, a Hillsborough emergency policy group, and they issued a stay-at-home order. Now, when was it executed? Hey, Greg, glad you're on, brother. Hey, Deborah, glad you're on. When was this executed? 2 days before the church services. March 27th. 2 days. Well, that's a whole lot. They said they've been in contact with them and all this stuff. So they execute this really what would be a county ordinance, a county order that you're not allowed to assemble more than 10 people at a religious service. They issue it 2 days before the man has his services. 2 days. And then they issue a warrant for Rodney Howard-Browne. Listen, I don't agree with everything Rodney Howard-Browne says or does. I don't agree with any pastor, everything they say or do. But we definitely are like-minded with this. So 2 days before his services, they execute this order, and then when he violates it, they issue a warrant for his arrest. And there's Christians that are watching this, and you think they're right. Oh, well, you know what? It's a public health hazard, and he should be abiding by it. Don't worry, I'm going to show you the numbers in a minute. And you can decide whether you believe facts or your feelings, facts or drama, facts or the Democratic Party and the liberal media hack ideas and their hack propaganda, their hack narrative. But I'm going to show you the facts about this whole virus. I have a whole board written here that I can't show you because I can't fit it on the screen. I had no time to rehearse this completely off the top of my head.
We'll take and post the links so everybody can watch this, and you're definitely going to want to watch the entire video.
He's got some really excellent information. You guys have got to watch entire video, okay?
And the thing is, you know, the President of the United States and their whole entourage gets up there. They're violating everything, too, if you want to look at it as far as violation.
No, you know, he's actually going into numbers, Stephen.
Well, here's the thing. What the issue is, for one, it's a violation of the constitutional rights, the lawful right to assemble yourselves. They're doing this intentionally, and they're wanting to arrest pastors.
Right. And social distancing is so that way you will not form any militia. You're not going to form any resistance. You distrust each
because
other.
Because when you start finding out what's really going on, that's what's going to cause the people to want to organize, and they want to make sure they use a pandemic. Get the people to accept all mainstream media lies and propaganda so that enough people are dumbed down by it where nobody will, they can't come together to try to be a little bit better unified.
All we want to do is ask questions, simple questions of statistics according to their own statistics. And this is what this man here, this former law enforcement official, is bringing all these numbers from CDC website, cdc.gov website, from previous years, from flu statistics. I mean, common sense.
Does a marvelous job. Okay.
Because we are hiring right now, we are in a little bit of a difficult situation here with our family, and we are hurrying. I'm not going to go into more things other than I want to make everybody aware that one country in EU, European Union, Hungary, has become official dictatorship.
It was on April the 1st that came out.
Right, the Prime Minister Viktor Orban got unprecedented power. He ostensibly enacted to fight COVID-19 crisis. The move allows Orban to rule by decree indefinitely. I'm afraid this is going to follow.
It's going to spread. It's going to go all across the world.
The planet.
This is really, really a very serious situation. Listen, guys, we got to run. We're going to get this up quickly as we can. Put some links for you in the
Another thing
description.
I want to show you here just really quickly, when you go to YouTube, and many of you might know Richie from Boston, RFB.
Yes, Richie's doing an amazing job right now.
I don't think Richie knows us personally. I don't think he actually likes us. He doesn't know about our change from Zionism to real true Christianity that we had with Steve and everything. So I don't know how he will talk about us, but this is time to unite. And I want to highly recommend his videos to you.
Richie's putting out some very important information.
He is putting out one of the most important information you must watch and know. He's doing videos constantly. You know, he's like man without wife, no children, and he's just really out there for people right now, putting out factual information. Please, I mean, how many 20, 30 videos? I would watch each and one. Extremely important information.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
We are headed to martial law. Very, very true.
Right.
So, thank you guys for listening and watching, and we'll be on video here before too long, guys. Just a lot of things happening.
Yes,
God
please
bless
pray
you.
for us.
Yes.
God bless
and
you.
We'll be praying.